All right, hello everyone. This is Deploying the Line, Steve Tribble here, and I brought my two friends, Nicholas Fromme and Alex Pina, who also went to the Tacoma Open with me. They're two good friends of mine, and I'm specifically bringing them on because we're all three of us are pretty deep testing partners. I help design aspects of the list, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to get them on and get them a little a quicker version of their little turn recap than I spent, but a nice little thing to get all their games together and see how the event went for them. So yeah, we're gonna start. All right, we'll start with
Steve, thanks
Alex's
for having
list.
Yeah, no, thank you too.
All right, boys.
Hey, it's me, Alex Pina.
Mhm.
Should I go over the list real quick, Steve?
Yeah, we'll start. We'll go through your list, Alex, and you talk about it, and we'll talk about your games, and then same with Nick over here.
Sounds great. So I had been testing mostly not this detachment. When the book came out, I was really hype on the Warp Meld detachment because I wanted to play double-digit, maybe triple-digit numbers of Zangors. And it was pretty good. It was more teams-oriented, where it's just kind of a blunter army. And then every week or so, someone was like, "Oh yeah, the index can still do damage," and I was like, "Okay, whatever. I'm satisfied with my mutaliths and whatever." And then they FAQ'd that detachment in the middle of, they nerfed the detachment in the middle of an FAQ. So I was like, okay, this isn't as fun anymore. So started testing with Grand Coven, and it turns out, yeah, the detachment's still nutty. You still have crazy amounts of damage. It's just in slightly different areas like bow goats. And I mean, we all love the Arcane Vortex. Whatever it's called now, it's still Arcane Vortex. And yeah, I was pretty satisfied with this list. I had tested some naked rubrics and some 5-mans, but I came from playing a bunch of Deathwatch, so I really wanted one big package I could kick the door in early, and that was the Crystal Sorcerer Squad. So really quickly, my list was Magnus the Red, Exalted Sorcerer on disc with Incandium, which is you can Doom Bolt a second time. Someone else has to cast it, but Infernal Master, the classic, can't leave home without it with the Vortex. 2 sorcerers, 1 with a crystal, 2x5 rubrics, 1x10 rubric, a rhino, 2 mutaliths, 6-man goat squad, 3-man goat squad, and 2x10 Zangors, and there are 2 shamans as well.
I forgot the shamans. They were hiding. Yep. One specific thing, as we'll get back to. Let's see, 1 second. As I commented by my funny little picture, is you did not have 18 bow goats, as I was a fan of. So why did you not play 18 bow goats, Mr. Alex?
Oh man, I don't know. So I do know. In my testing, the more go boats you had, they were good, but you absolutely needed to have full rerolls on the target you're shooting your bow goats at. And so you weren't really incentivized to split fire multiple bow goat units. And if you occasionally what happens is you roll like a 9 and you don't have the CP to redo it, or you need to save for Magnus rerolls. And so you have these guys who are hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. And so their damage output like drops off a cliff. And they're still good, and I don't think I'm correct in not taking 18, but in my personal playstyle testing, I found that 1 brick of bow goats with the shaman attached to be able to give whatever they're shooting at rerolls fit pretty well in my playstyle. And then the 3-man could be attached to the disc guy if I wanted to play against a triple PBC, which thankfully I didn't, or any other indirect. Or most of the time, they're just a 50-point really useful action monkey.
I'll have 18 bow goats kills Demon Primarchs the -1 damage pretty well. As,
sure do.
Maybe I've experienced.
All right. Yeah, maybe we've shoved goats down your throat. But
all right, we'll go to Nick's list now.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Nick, and this is the elf list that me and Steve kind of came to the conclusion on running with some very light deviations. So first, I kind of want to talk about like why I played this army. So originally, I was nowhere near elves, right? I was on World Eaters at the time, messing around with like triple Hellbrute or like double Hellbrute, double Mauler Fiend, and that seemed okay. And then I went to some like RTs and GTs with it, and it was not the thing. Struggled into the Knights, just like not incredible matchup profiles. A lot of different matchups were not amazing. And so Steve randomly, when deciding to play Death Guard or not Death Guard, tested this list into me or something similar. I was like, this actually seems really, really good, right? And so then I mixed it up a little bit for certain GW boards, and then obviously we'll talk about the Dark Reapers. But But this is the version I settled on, and it had pretty decent success. First, I'll start with the list. So it's Eldrad, Fuegan, Jane Czar, and Lycus. 1 unit of Corsairs, 2 Wave Serpents, 2x5 Dark Reapers, a big unit of Dragons that was always attached to Fuegan, 2 units of 5 Dragons, unit of Banshees for Jane Czar, unit of Rangers, and then it was 1 Warp Spider squad with the Power Blades to go with Lycus, and 2 generic Warp Spider squads. These are the ones that have the Spinneret Rifle and the Death Weavers. And then a unit of 6 Wind Riders.
Yeah, like
and so this list.
I was just sorry to interrupt. I was gonna say like you said, I did play a couple games of this game list, and the only difference is I'm a big proponent of I hate Dark Reapers. So that's the biggest change you made. So if you want to talk about why you decided to add Dark Reapers in.
Exactly. I think it was almost the only change. I think this list is almost point for point exactly what you were running. I think you were running a Warlock and like 2 more garbage units.
Yeah, some Striking Scorpions.
Not that I call them. Yeah, some Scorpions and stuff.
So why'd
you
play
not,
the Warlocks?
Not super different.
Or the Dark Reapers, I mean.
Yeah. So the idea behind the Dark Reapers is that I wanted something to hold angles on those GW boards, and then also just like take up space, protect rapid ingress angles, and then also like kind of this list traditionally struggles with pressure melee, and it was also there to kind of shore that up. This ended up not working exactly how I would have wanted it to work, just because they suck overall. Their like point to damage ratio is just so egregiously low that they still weren't amazing. But in functionally they were okay, right? I was never super disappointed, just never impressed, right? But then like some of the core concepts of the list that like make Eldar strong is definitely what carried this pretty heavily. Love the dragon unit with Fuegan. That unit is awesome.
Yep.
It's just a wonderful unit overall. Kills whatever it wants. I had a game where I split fired 5 and 6 and killed 2 big knights with it. It was excellent.
Sounds beautiful.
And then other than that, it's such a beautiful unit. Other than that, just kind of like traditional Eldar pieces, right? A little bit of overinvestment in dragon units, just for thinking we were going to play 4 of our 8 games into knights, but that didn't happen.
Man, one of us did.
Spiders because they're good. That's true. One of us did. Lucky.
But yeah, you're right. Eldar, like the final 200 points is very ambiguous. So running the Dark Reapers is just mostly like whatever. I'm just like what random unit you want to put in those last couple points. So you're not innately wrong by doing that, obviously. Very popular unit. All right.
Yeah.
Go to the first games. Alex, game 1.
Yeah. So kind of I knew that Tsons has been pretty well positioned in the meta in this like post night meta, but one of the really glaring bad matchups you never want to see is triple Plague Burst Crawler. And as Steve and I progressed with similar win-loss records, he kind of like as a specter haunting me, he was like, what if we get paired? And I was like basically just praying that wouldn't happen. So round 1 I instantly see that I'm paying into Death Guard, and I'm like, well, this will be nice, just get it out of the way. And thankfully, and this was something I noticed a lot of the Death Guard players at Tacoma were not running triple Plague Burst Crawlers. And even so, like some of them said it, like I kept suggesting it and they were like, no, that's not very good. The meta has since accepted that they are good, but thankfully for me in this tournament.
We'll get into that Death Guard thing. So
someone did really well with it, but
so
somebody
specifically about this guy's playing Virulent Victorum, the remade Index. And as a lot of games I originally played, and why I stopped playing Death Guard for about a month, is I found that the Index has a lot of weird and bad matchups that on the surface might look good. Like you have access to -1 damage and kind of sticky objectives, and a cool looking Demon Prince that has loan op and free strats that on the surface look relatively strong, but in reality are a lot of fake powerful buffs. Because as you can see, like Tsons hypothetically don't like -1 damage, especially if you're like this player who brought a big 10-man Plague Marine squad. That means like your 2 damage characters are very anemic, and it makes Magnus a lot worse in a lot of instances. But as we see by the score, that really did not come into fruition. Is this detachment doesn't really make you stronger into any specific army. That's something like my detachment, the Hammer Terran, does. And I'll go over his list and then I'll talk about the game. This is a relatively standard Virulent Victorium list. There isn't really anything I can say that's like out of the ordinary, except maybe the random 2 5-man Plague Marines, but that's mostly fine. They brought a Biology Putrefier. The guy gives you crits on 5s. Demon Prince on foot with the 5 Feel No Pain. The Lord of Contagion. I'm pretty sure that's the crits on 5 relic, if you know, Alex. Or it's the crits.
I think it is crit on 5.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Plague First, I think, is reroll wounds. But yeah, I'm pretty sure crits on 5s for the character specifically. And then he has a Lord of Virulence, a Playcaster to go with the Putrefier to give you sus lethal on 5s, and a solo Tallyman. Well, I guess he could have been with the 5 Plague Marines, but I assume he wasn't. And then a slightly odd loadout for the Plague Marines. Right now, you usually go all guns, and then you take your random couple extra guys as melee guys. But this guy decided to bring 5 Power Fists, 1 Power Sword, but only 2 Melt and 2 Blight Launch. So he didn't bring any Flamers or anything. And then his second Plague Marine squad was also similarly kind of strange, where he didn't bring any real guns, just a Flamer, and his normal Flamer, not a heavy Flamer. A Plague Belcher, that's what the Death Guard one's called. They brought 2 Rhinos for his 20 boys, Solos 2-man Spawn squad, only 2 squads at Death Shroud, and then the normal 3 Bloat Drones of Blight Launchers, 20 Poxwalkers, and a single Myth. So, you want to go over this game, Alex? Seemed like you won by turn 3.
Yeah, he in round 1 of these giant events, you never know who you're going to play, and this guy was relatively new to competitive 40k. So I tried, like, hey, I didn't know to what extent he was new, but he was like, I'm still kind of getting my grounding. So I deploy pretty conservatively, just because I know that it's going to be hard to push really hard into this, and that in a lot of my matchups we just kind of play the mid board. He infiltrates his Poxwalkers pretty aggressively. He deploys extremely aggressively. So this is layout 1. He puts a Rhino like where I can see it. He's very, very ready to go first and then just push pedal to the metal. That does not happen. I get to scout some Zangors. I advance them, get a good advance, and double move them, and just kind of prison him in his deployment because he made a big bottleneck by having the Rhino there, and he had a bunch of other things there. I get to cut a cheeky angle for Magnus to see the Demon Prince, and he was only using 10 Poxwalkers for loan up, so I kill those for free. I actually, because I get Assassinate turn 1, I kill the Demon Prince for free, and I had marked the Poxwalkers for 2 points, and then he basically has to spend his whole first turn like committing a bunch of things into these 10 Zangors, and he deploys a little bit further out, but that allowed me to stage really aggressively. So my turn 2, I basically drop, shoot, I kill most of his drones. I kill a Rhino with like 10 men inside. The Blight Hauler I put to a couple of wounds. I put another Bloat Drone to a couple of wounds. Really just the big tempo advantage there. He drops, kills a little bit of stuff. I think he kills like a Rubric squad, maybe the 10 men that crystalled, and then from there Magnus just comes in and closes the door. Like he basically was tabled by turn 3, and I was on every objective, and it wasn't like a great game for him, but I think he learned a lot. I tried after like round 2 or 3, I try to be like, this is maybe something I would have done. Maybe this is that. I don't really play a lot of new Death Guard, so I can't really say list design or something like that. But there were some big macro decisions with his deployment that I think a lot of newer players do, where they deploy like they're going to go first. And if you start deploying like you're going to go second, you don't lose your stuff as aggressively. But yeah, I was very, somewhat relieved that my round 1 was with a very cool opponent, and it wasn't super crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, what you're saying, it seemed like just like kind of a skill difference, which is, it's going to happen in these big events.
Yeah.
One thing you did point out is my biggest issue with the Demon Prince actually is why I dislike this model profusively. It's like 225 points, and Death Guard does not have a lot of infantry on the battlefield. If you're playing this attachment, you have some amount of Plague Marines that are in Rhinos, And then you have some amount of poxwalkers that are relatively easy to kill, and they don't really want to be hanging around Demon Prince to begin with. And then your other infantry are just Death Shroud, which are in the air. Because Spawn are not infantry, so they don't trigger the Lone Up. So he's really actually hard to protect and trigger that, keep that ability active, which is one big issue I have with the model. But there you go. That was really very good first game. Off to Nick's first game.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. He played versus Wrath of the Rock. I'll go over the list real quick.
I did.
This is a relatively normal Wrath of the Rock list that people like running. There's not too many weird units, but he had Azrael, a Judiciary with ancient weapons, just like the +2 strength, AP, and damage. A lieutenant with combi weapons, Mr. Lionel Johnson, an Impulsor, 2 squads of Mace Deathwing Knights, big Hellblaster to hang out with Azrael, 5 Infiltrators, 6 Fight First Inner Circle Companions with the Judiciary, a Solo Invader ATV, which is cute because it gets the detachment ability, so -1 to wound. Some Scouts, and 2 squads of Vanguard Vets, which are also very nice with the detachment. All right, so what happened?
Cool. So first, I kind of want to go over some like general Eldar gameplay knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way that pretty much every Eldar list is designed, right? Obviously, if you're putting some effort into it, is you're building one of 2 ways, right? If you go first, you're deploying semi-aggressive enough to interact with scoring pieces turn 1, right? And if you go second, you want to be able to kind of just AFK in your DZ, right? I'll use that term because Eldar, they don't need to invest any resources at all to kill like scoring units or forward units with the Fuegan unit. And also in this list, the Fire and Fade Windrider unit. So you just get to drag resources out of your opponent. And then normally the problem with Eldar is scoring primary is kind of difficult. So going second is a huge spike up, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this game, I got second, so I played accordingly, right? My opponent did not protect his scouts or his van vets. So turn 1, I was able to kill 4 of the van vets and the full scout squad with warp spiders, and one of them just was unable to be interacted with because it was able to fire and fade away. And so that was how my turn 1 went. His turn 1 was just kind of staging. Past that, it kind of goes how you expect it to go, right? Turn 2, he realizes, hey, I'm draining resources. I have no like scoring units left. They're all dead. So he attempts it all in. It does not go particularly well. I think he killed a unit of Dark Reapers. He killed 2 units of Warp Spiders, and then I think a Corsair unit with his all in. So not incredible, right? And then from there, I just pick up most of his army. I think I was able to put all 20 dragons into the Lion turn 3 because it was the only model remaining on the battlefield, and I killed him with 5.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's one of the only monsters vehicles anyway, so he's kind of a prime target for the fire dragons.
He is. Yep, dragons were definitely mostly saved just for interacting with him. But after that, he's tabled, right? So the game's pretty much over turn 3. Yeah, it was also kind of, I don't want to say a super new opponent, but newer, right? I think he realized a little bit too late that he needs to stage very aggressively with turn 1 into elves, right? He needs to prepare an all-in immediately. And he just didn't do that. He waited a little too long. The staging wasn't correct for it, and so he just like was only able to touch some scoring units.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not knowing how to position your models, especially in an aggro sense on the macro scale, is how you kind of lose into Eldar very well. Especially, your detachment, considering with the multiple fire and fades and such, it means you can't really piecemeal things very well. So all those, what you're saying is all very, very correct in that type of instance. And at that type of detachment, which he has slightly more shooting than usual, but a very low amount of shooting list is not going to be too happy.
No, yeah, it definitely wasn't.
All right, round 2. 1-0 for both of you. All right, we got some Warhorde Orcs. This is a much closer game for Alex. All right, so this is Terraform, and we're still on layout 1. We're hanging out in Crucible now. All right, this is a... I'll just go over the list real quick, Alex.
This is, you can go over the list. You're an Orcs guy.
Yeah, I know Orcs a decent amount. So this is also a relatively normal list. He has some 2 strange units, which are the Kill Rigs, but Kill Rigs are fine. They're at least nice and cheap. So, like I said, relatively normal. So you have 2 normal Beast Boss hanging out with this Beast Nagas. Cool. A War Boss in Mega Armor with the Super Cyborg Armor. It gives him a 4 Feel No Pain. 2 Beast Naga Boys, which are really good in this meta because they give you 4 rerolls to hit, combined with the Beast Boss, who has anti-4-up and dev wounds and such. It's very good at killing big knights and such. 10 normal boys, a truck and a battle wagon, 2 solo flash skips, 20 grots, which I guess is 21. They come in 11 mans. Those 2 kill regs I brought up. 2 mega knobs is to hang out with Gazgul. 5 solo knobs. And 2 5-man storm boys. So how'd this go?
It was good, man. Shout out to Eric. I think he won best painted or best. He won some event, some award. His army was really, really well painted. Oryx has always kind of done mental to me as an army because it's just like the antithesis of my play style, which is just very fast-paced melee. I'm very much more like a surgical precision kind of like play a bunch of small battles on the battlefield. Yeah, it was very close. I think the only reason I won is because I went second. I got to pull off a pretty good secondary turns. I got 11 points. I get to score a good primary. The game was he put basically every single one of his big vehicles on his natural, and put a little bit of stuff to harass my natural. I clear that pretty consistently, but he has the the Terminator equivalents, the Mega Knobs, with the Philopin guy, and I don't put nearly as much damage as I needed to put into that unit. So the War Mech kind of just like walks around, and they stay in combat with the Mutalift for like multiple turns just because I keep spiking Feel No Pains. So I bleed a lot of resources, kind of stemming his battle wagon and kill rigs from pushing into my home, but he careens. One of his one of his battle wagons explodes, careens straight into my DZ, and then he disembarks and gets like a cheeky charge there. I get really lucky. I get really lucky heroicing a disc sorcerer back onto my home point to keep primary turn 4, so I get like a little bit. But yeah, I don't think Terraform came up a ton. Like this was one of the least, because like we didn't really get time to do it because I think I terraformed like in the little bit turn 1 just to put stuff there, and then we just kept fighting. But it was very close, very intense game. I really appreciated Eric. He was a great opponent the whole time. He was very chill. But yeah, I think it was just a very close matchup. It's really hard to crack these kill rigs with the 2-up save, and I think one of them had AOC, or one of the vehicles had AOC. And so a bunch of my strength 4 AP1 stuff. Obviously, doom bolts are good and grenades are good, but then you're danger close to them. But it was good. Gazgul was okay. The problem with Gazgul is it's very grenadable. It's very like the two Mega Knobs attached to it, like they absorbed a little bit, but like once you focus down Gazgul, he's not terribly efficient, especially when you have a million death wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's so expensive and so slow.
But yeah, and I had not played this matchup. I'll go for it.
I was just saying, you say Terraform didn't come up that often, but it seems like you scored between 6 and 8 points on it, because you got 2 on turn 2, 2 on turn 3, 2 on turn 4, and between 2 and 4 on turn 5. It seems like a lot from just the Terraform points. He seems to score none on it.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant to say. It's like a lot of the Terraform games I play, we just leapfrog, do something, and then someone unflips the switch. But this one, I think I just did it with my Zangors turn 1, and then we just kept going, which I think honestly helped out a lot. Yep. Obviously. And then, yeah, terraforming at the bottom of turn to score just enough points was good too.
All right, cool. That was a sweet sounding game. All right, Nikki, you're up. So we got my army, kind of.
It is.
So we got the Lions of the Emperor. So yeah, we got. This is, like I said, no one's had any weird, goofy lists yet. This would probably be what I would be playing almost exactly if I was playing Lions. But I don't play custodians at the moment. But yeah, we got a Blade Champion, a Dormitorius, Shield Captain, a Laris Armor, like +2 strength, AP, and damage. It's a very good relic. I didn't check what weapon he has. I assume he had an axe, unless you want to correct me on that. He has Mr. Trajan, who's specifically good in this attachment because you can use the 2-up invul save twice per game on him and make him a silly little tank. You got 3 squads of 4 custodian guardsmen hang out with his Inquisitor Draxus and probably Trajan. 2 Ilarius to hang out with the Ilarius. Just a single squad, which I prefer because I think Ilarius are really, really bad, sadly. 2 Caldas Grav tanks, which are mandatory. And then he had 1 Warden squad to hang out with the Blade Champion. And then 4 squads of sisters between the scouting and the normal ladies. And then the said Inquisitor and the Inquisitor Draxus. This is a pretty sweet sounding list, pretty normal list for flying to the Emperor, just relying on your +1 to wound to carry you to victory. So how'd it go?
Yes, it was an axe also, just for throwing that in there.
Knew it.
This list was interesting. It was kind of what I was expecting out of Custodes, so I was reasonably prepared for it.
Mhm.
On that note of Eldar being impacted turn 1, turn 2, I get turn 1 this game, which is normally a bummer, but on Terraform, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I scored, it was either 16 or 20 points on Terraform. So we'll go over that at the end, but a very large chunk of my points was acquired through Terraform. So turn 1, my opponent deploys like he's going to get first turn. We've already discussed that, right? Not an incredible way to play 40k. So I think turn 1, I'm able to get all 10 Dark Reapers shooting and the Dragon squad shooting at like different Warden units.
Oh,
and I'm also able to grab 2 units of Sisters with Warp Spiders. So turn 1, I kill both the units of Sisters that are forward, looking to do things forward. I think I kill 3 Wardens out of 1 squad, 2 Wardens out of the other squad. And then I'm fully screened, so the only thing he can touch, even if he rolls a 6 on a Blade Champ advance, is a unit of Corsairs. So obviously that's a really punishing turn 1. He does exactly that. He goes, well, now that I've lost a bunch of units out of squads and I've popped my Feel No Pains, I guess I just got to go. And so he goes all in. I think he tries to, he kills a Corsair unit, he kills 2 units of Spiders, he gets on the center. So we're starting a brawl game really early, which is probably not amazing into Eldar when you just get to fire on repeat for free, right? Turn 2 is pretty similar. I think I finish off both the Blade Champ squads, or I finish off the Warden squad, and I finish off most of the Guard squads. I think there's 1 left. The Inquisitor unit is still alive. And so as of turn 2, there is a single Inquisitor Guard unit left. There's 1 Grav tank. And there's some other miscellaneous pieces. I think there's a nude Trajan running around also. So also just a very punishing early game, right? Most of his resources are spent turn 1 and 2. Turn 3, I just get to stand on my points, clean up, and farm a ton off of Terraform and score secondaries. And so as we see, it was kind of a blowout because of that. I think it really is just a testament of not deploying for going first, right? Because I think this matchup could be fine if he doesn't lose 300 points plus the Warden Feel No Pain turn 1, right? I think that's just too punishing. I think he almost lost a Grav tank turn 1 too. I was able to get a split fire where I think I got 6 dragons into a Grav tank.
Lord.
I think he spiked 5 out of the 6 5-ups on it, which is obviously totally acceptable, right? But there was a world where he also lost a Grav tank turn 1, which is just too many resources to lose turn 1.
Not good. But yeah, so to beat Eldar with Custodes, you got to be this is one of the most important movement based armies for that reason. Because you have to always have your Inquisitor in a good spot while being on an objective, because he overwatches insanely well. Same thing with Draxus. If you can get her anti-all else behind a wall and kill 2 to 3 guys a turn, that's very great. And then one thing you can do in this type of matchup is charge Trajan's squad into Howling Banshees or something, because they're one of the most threatening units for Custodes, because he won't die with his invul save and he'll kill the whole squad back. And that's technically a trade down. And if he's with Wardens or something, they won't die anyways. And so it just depends who he's hanging out with. There's a lot of things you have to do correctly because you're very unfavored in the Custodes. And then obviously, it's just you gotta do that. But he didn't, which sucks. But
he did not. No, he did not do any of those things.
Good game for us though. All right, off to the game 3. Now we got Hammer of the Emperor Guard. Similar Emperor list though. All right. So I'm not much too proficient in the Guard life, but I don't know much about Hammer of the Emperor, I'll be honest, but I do know these models very well. So I played almost this exact same list, just in a different attachment. One question before we start. Did he have his bodyguard with his Cadian command squad, Alex?
I believe so.
Was it leading or was it solo?
I don't really recall. I think his command squad was just kind of near his home objective, and I don't even really interact with it.
It's just
I asked, but I do think
why.
the bodyguard was. I think the bodyguard was attached to the command squad.
I just asked why, because if the command squad is not leading the Cadians, but they have a bodyguard, then the whole unit becomes T6, and that's very cool. My round
I think that's what.
Yeah. My round 3 opponent Josh had that. He had a solo command squad with the bodyguard. Yeah. So game 3, we're playing Hammer and Ample, the dreaded supply drops. We both played guard on supply drop round 3. Woo. So yeah, he's got
a million OC.
A million OC. I'm playing a terrible freaking OC army. Yeah, that was dreadful. But you did a bit better than I did. So he has Cadian command squad. The Gaunt's Ghosts, very good. They up and down. They got a lot of melee tanks if you play against like a T3 shitter army. And then they have OK shooting, and they do whatever they're called, commands, orders. They're orders. He's got an Ogre and Bodyguard, like I said. That makes the unit T6, which is a very cool random solo doer unit if they're not hanging out with the Cadians. 2 Rogaldorns with Veteran Crew. To be honest, I have no clue what Veteran Crew does. I assume it's like real ones or something. Yep. Oh, look at that. 10 Cadians, 3 Tauroxes for the Khazarkins. Tauroxes are amazing, let you advance and disembark, and Khazarkins are probably one of the best units in the army. They order themselves, so they hit on 2s, and then they have a bunch of guns, and they have a Meltamind. 5 solo horses. I'm a big fan of the Rough Riders recently. I'm surprised no one runs any of them, because I played against like more of a skew recently at a GTA I went to. I played against 30. They're very nice for the cheap amount of points they are. The only other somewhat weird thing is the Vanquishers. So the Vanquishers are essentially the version of a rail cannon. They're very they're the casino cannon of the Lehman Russ. And he's got 5 Ratlings, which I spelled wrong, and then a single Scout Sentinel.
You got 5 Ratlings.
Dude. That's right, they talk.
Yeah. So Hammer of the Emperor gets to Kool-Aid Man Tauroxes into your deployments and drop off Khazarkins.
That's real good.
And that was basically what he did from the start. This guy, I've seen him at a couple tournaments. Very cool guy. He gave me a candy bar for not playing Knights, which was awesome. He was like, "Thank you for doing your part." Yeah, very cool guy. I'm happy I finally got to play him. Yeah, Patrick was cool. He identified very early how important the Rhino was for killing high toughness. I got second, which was great because the pressure was on him to try and jail me and do primary, and this army does jail me pretty well. Turn 1, he does drop off Khazarkin, and the Khazarkin actually blow up the Rhino, which is upsetting for me, but that's kind of, I didn't know if there was a way to keep it safe. I kind of deployed it a little bit aggressively, but so he does that. I start kind of jailing him back, where my Zangors just advance pretty aggressively behind the wall. I kill the Taurox and the Khazarkin that shot at it, and we start kind of trading resources. He puts stuff in the middle. I kind of leaf blower it off, and then the biggest thing that happened was he starts kind of putting things on objectives. He's like, he identifies he needs to score as much primary as he can now, because later on I'll just keep denying it. And on my go turn, I kill a pretty good amount. I think I kill a Rogaldorn, a Lehman Russ, a Taurox, some of the dudes inside. And so, the important thing is Zangors get a good charge off, and they kind of move block. Well, they tag the Rogaldorn, and they tag the second Lehman Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, they tag not a Lehman Russ, they tag a Taurox with guys inside. So he can't advance, he can fall back into this. And I tag it facing my half of the deployment zone. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to have to desperate escape for this game to continue. He basically identifies that because I didn't want him using that Rogaldorn because Magnus is now in the middle. And he's like, okay, if this Rogaldorn dies from desperate escape, I will just concede. And I was like, okay. And he rolls a 1 into a 1. And then the Rogaldorn explodes and wounds like stuff around him. And it was just nightmarish for him, I think. And then he was like, okay, you got this game. We'll play it out, but I think you got it. And we played it out, and he actually was doing very well. I think he shouldn't have, and we talked about it later. I think like and this is maybe just like if you ever feel like you're tilting and you auto lose, just don't declare that you're going to concede.
Yeah, never do that.
I've done it before too, because like you never know what the dice swing the other way, stuff like that, especially when you have a bunch of units. But yeah, it was very catastrophic for him that I didn't have to shoot. I didn't have to activate into that Rogaldorn. I just tagged it with the Zangors, and he CP rerolled the Desperate, and the game was kind of over from there. We kind of talked it out, and that we kind of came up with that score, which was good. But yeah, very bad. Guard, I think it's closer to a drawish matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think me being spot him on supply drop and me having a good turn and him not having enough of a clapback with being down a Rogaldorn really makes it in his favor. And I do think actually to Patrick's, I think he only lost to me. I think he went 7-1. So this guy, I mean, he's the real deal. He knew what he was doing, and I think Guard is one of the better armies in the game right now. I think it just doesn't have a great showing because I don't think it's a very like easy army to play. There's a lot of decision trees and there's a lot of like moving parts, and it's not a very consistent damage army. But Patrick played it great, and I think if we re-rack it in 3 or 4 other missions, I think it's pretty comfortably his. But I will take the wins where I can get them.
Yeah, so yeah, we had a similar situation, me and you, where on like turn 3, he had 2 like shitter vehicles in combat with 2 of my units near Death Shroud. They were either in combat with Death Shroud or within 6 of Death Shroud. And he was rolling leaderships, and he +1 leadership them, so leadership 6, and he rolled 6s on both of them. And I'm like, sorry, brother, you need to wait real quick. I need to check if I equipped my Death Shroud with their -1 leadership aura. Because at the time, I was a silly boy and thought you had to take the -1 leadership or the second flamer. And well, I did take and I was playing with 3 flamers up until that point because I was handicapping myself. I equipped them with the -1 leadership aura, and they both failed their leadership test at that point. So both failed on a 6. He needed a 7, and they both died on a desperate escape. I was like, oh man. It wasn't as huge as yours with an exploding Lehman Russ. It was just some chimeras, but I was like, damn.
That's a career highlight for me. A career low light for him. But yeah, that was insane. I honestly didn't even really like register that he could just drive over my models. I was like, okay, so he's gonna be there. And then he was like, no, I'm gonna desperate escape. And I was like, oh, I hope that he explodes. And then he did, and I was like, okay. Crisis averted. 300 IQ play. Of course, it was gonna blow up. But
yeah, it's always like the worst feeling when someone's like, I'm gonna reroll my desperate escape. And you're like, I'm sorry, brother, you're battle shock.
Yeah,
you rolled that one.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, it's over. All right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But a shout out to Patrick. Patrick was great. Very strong opponent. If anyone else got to play him, then they know. Hopefully they got candy bars.
Their game 3. All right, here's another incredibly close game. This is another Lord Virulent Victorum. Very similar list to the first one. This one's more generic. There's less
yes, it is.
Slightly weird stuff that Alex's first list had. So yeah, so his is almost the exact same. Let's see, Future Fire. He had the Demon Prince on foot with the Fatal Pain. Lord of Contagion with the Furnace of Plagues. That is the reroll wounds if you're on objectives. Lord of Virulence. Melinda Playcaster. So pretty much the normal character suite you take when you have to take Plague Marines. A completely normal Plague Marine loadout of 2 plasma guns, 4 power fists, which I'm including the sergeant in that unit. 2 blight launchers and 2 heavy flamers. The Plague Spears, the anti-infantry 2-up ones. The only like question you have is, do you want meltas or do you want plasma guns? A big 6-man Death Shroud, which is very fun. I'm gonna assume that was
talk about that in a second.
I'm assuming that was with the Lord of Contagion, but I can't guess from this loadout. Maybe Lord of Virulence get 4 rolls to wound. A normal 3-man Lord.
Oh, it's weird. You'll get it wrong, I promise.
Oh,
he was doing jank.
I love jank. And then a 3-man Death Shroud, 30 Poxwalkers. This guy knows how to play 40k. Good man. A Chaos Spawn unit, only one of them. 3 Blight Launchers, 2 single Mephitics, and a single Rhino for his Plague Marines. All right. This was a close game. And it's... How'd you both get a card on turn 5?
I think I misscored it slightly. He should have 3 less on that one. But that was just because I swapped it and I was fixing it after. But
you got that supply drop primary of nothing till turn 4.
I did. I know this game. So first, I want to talk about some strange things. So the 6-man of Death Shroud started on board.
What the hell? Okay.
On his right on line, and he advanced them into the center turn.
At least I don't move forward anymore.
So first, I want to start with that, right? So seeing this, first off, I'm pretty confident that this matchup is unfortunately an auto loss if I get first, right? Getting second, I'm immediately very, very happy, right? Yeah. My opponent deploys all these 6 Death Shroud online and 2 bloat drones. I'm also incredibly happy, right? He pushes them up. Turn 1, I put all 10 dragons with sustained and in melter range into the Death Shroud unit, right? And I kill one of them. I'm like, okay, this happens, right? I put a full Wind Rider unit and some non-melter range dragons into a blow drone, and I do not kill it. And then I put 2 units of Dark Reapers into a second one, and I actually kill the second one with the Dark Reapers. Haha. The funny. One moment the Dark Reapers have done amazing, right? So going into this turn 1, I was like, wow, I think I just win this game on the spot, right? The math is, obviously there's no rerolls, so it's very, very swingy. But the math is I kill I think it's 4 or 3 Death Shroud pretty consistently. Killing one was a little bit scary, right? I was also pretty confident in killing a second drone. That immediately kind of sets the stage of the game, right? Because obviously those types of plays, like just shoving 6 Death Shroud on the middle, is normally quite a bad play because you lose them. But if they just don't die, then it's fine, right? Then it's okay. And so the rest of the game is kind of damage controlling that, right? It's that at turn 2 he has 6 Death Shroud almost in my DZ already. Thankfully, I was able to push it out just barely. The Serpent ended up surviving. I think it was the 3 mana Death Shroud and the Contagion Lord.
The Serpent lived on his turn too?
It did.
What did he charge? You didn't charge it with the 6 Death Shroud that were right next to it?
Nope. That I had move blocked. He was only able to charge it with the 3-man Deep Striking Shroud Squad. It was a little bit silly, but he was able to get that charge, and then I lived, which was critical for this game. The rest of it was kind of just cleanup and damage control, and me holding back until 4 and 5. So it was just resources being expended to deny his primaries, and then killing the stuff that was walking at me, which it ended up working fine. Obviously, very, very close. Yeah. I was a little bit shocked that my opponent decided to put 6 Death Shrouds starting on board, and I thought the game was kind of over the second he did that. But for some reason, it did not end immediately, and it actually ended up working fine.
I can actually give context from both a Prolific Eldar and Death Guard player. That is on the surface not completely incorrect, because in this detachment, it's going to be hard to get a 6-inch Deep Strike with a 6-man squad, because you can actually screen it out, unlike Hammer. So they're probably never going to Deep Strike in a good position. Otherwise, he sets it up. Obviously, you don't want to put a position when they're getting shot by fire dragons and stuff. You got to move them correctly. It sets them up to be the best Overwatch threat, in the game, where you can't, how you beat Eldar in a couple instances is have insane Overwatch. That's why, for instance, when Eldar first came out, it was hard countered by the old Index Death Guard, because the old Index Death Guard cost even less points than they currently do now, and had essentially an infinite amount of Overwatch, and you can only turn off Overwatch at one single point. So it on the surface is not wrong, but it's very weird. You got to play very well to make that work. And it's very good if you're scared of things hypothetically, if your opponent has a lot more melee, things like Howling Banshees and stuff, because then they can never, they can't really use their other turn off Overwatch threats and stuff. You got to be very careful. So, but yeah, it's also the issue of 6 Death Shroud costs 20 more points, just taking 6 over 2 3-mans, which is very, very dumb considering it's just a worse unit. That's something GW should fix. Slight GW Death Guard change there. GW make the 6-man not cost 20 more points. But yeah. Okay, there you go. Now, like I said, very close game. This was not a game.
Yeah, it was
oh wait, so who got the point then? Did you both score 3? Did you both just score? Did he score one turn 4 then or something?
Yeah, I think he scored a turn 4 or something like that. It's actually, maybe this game might have been, I'd have to go back and look through my scoring on this one. But the ending was 66-63. I think the 3 points might have been in a secondary or something.
Yeah, I was just checking if you actually won because you got one. He didn't actually get one, but if he got one earlier.
No.
All right. Game 4. This was the draw. This is what I was talking about earlier, where it was actually a draw because he drew one on turn 5. Funny challenger card moment.
Yeah.
All right, this is the Star Shadow Necrons, the coolest army in the game that everyone loves. So he's got a Catacomb Command Barge. I have no clue what that relic is. Either of these relics are, Alex, if you want to tell me what they do.
I think the Command Barge made him more tanky.
Wait, the
and then the Technomancer had a -1 damage.
All right, so he had the rerolls. Okay, cool. So
ones,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Technomancer with the -1 damage. The Silent King, a Reanimator, a Spooter to give you that mortal wound, feel no pain. 6 Wraiths, a single Crypto Thrall to hang out with those Wraiths. 5 Death Marks, 3 DDAs, 5 Flayed Ones, a single Locust Normal Destroyer, single Big Boy Destroyer, and a single Ophidian Destroyer squad. So there's not much to say about this list. Our shared Necron starts with a Wraith squad, 3 DDAs, and Silent King, and then you find 500 points of whatever you want to go in there, which is what, you found some Death Marks, some Spiders, some Locusts. All right, tell me about this game. This is a tie, Alex.
I know, it's funny.
This is Hidden Supplies Crucible.
Yeah, and that comes up a lot. He messaged me, because he's a local.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I hope we don't play, or if we do play, I hope we tie. I was like, okay, whatever. Weirdly, ominous. Foreboding. But I know in this matchup, it's kind of so he's got the Wraith. Obviously, I can either put everything into it or I can ignore it. The Flayed Ones, all of his little one-man units, they're pretty high priority for me to kill because once he does that, he has to put real units on the point, and that activates my Rubik squad.
Mm-hmm.
So in a moment of hubris, I will say, I got second turn. And in a moment of hubris, I teleport the rubrics because he just puts he puts the Flayed Ones on a point. He puts Wraiths on a point. And I'm like, I think the 10-man rubric squad can deal a good amount of damage to the Wraiths. And I do think they do. But he spikes a million 4-ups on his Thrall.
Nope.
In that unit. So he loses maybe 2 or 3 Wraiths. And I deny primary from it. Yeah, just doming, feel no pains over and over again. And so I'm like, okay, underwhelming. Now I know. I'll overwatch it as well, just to keep it kind of down. And so I basically trade the 10-man for the Flayed Ones and that, and I deny him both of his primary because I know since I'm going second, I'm just going to deny as much as possible and then get a 10 or a 15 at the end.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then is he spends he gets all of his DDAs out and the Wraiths, and they kill the 10-man, which is one of the reasons why I really love having a 10-man with Crystal, is that it is a unit that is big enough that demands a substantial unit to fix it. Unless you're playing Tau or a long-range shooting army that can just wipe it off the board from their DZ, they have to invest something. And even then, getting the angles to it is not always trivial, and that is something that happens. So his go turn, his killing my 10 rubric turn, basically puts him in a bad position. He also misplays the Technomancer. He never gets it within 6 inches of the Silent King. He's always just moving the Silent King after he moves the Technomancer. So the Command Barge for most of the game was -1 damage, which is okay.
Pretty hype.
So after that turn, I put everything out. Because with Tsons, when you drop, you want to drop with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest mistakes I made was dropping the 10-man. I should have just waited. So I did that. I kill 2 Doomsday Arcs and leave 1 mostly wounded. I kill some Wraiths. I kill some of his scoring units. And I position one of the Rubik squad so that if he moves towards an objective, I will overwatch one of the shitty units. He does. Okay. To his credit, he gets established focus. I don't even try and screen my backfield. I don't usually do unless it's a matchup where there's a substantial threat. So he does just get really good secondaries with dropping one of the destroyers on establish and then dropping one of the destroyers on behind. I'm like, okay, that's mildly annoying. But we do this huge trade where we just start scrapping, and I am killing basically everything but the Silent King and the Wraiths. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to invest a bunch of resources into them because I'm bleeding too much damage via Doomsday Arc, and Silent King Menhirs shooting down my Mutaliths. They last pretty long. They don't usually die. It took them multiple turns to die. And he conga lines the Wraiths into my home objective, which is why he scored. He scored hold 1, hold 2 because he held one where the Silent King was, one where the Wraiths were. He gets pretty lucky with a long bomb charge on the Silent King into a Rhino to take that objective. He identifies that that's kind of one of his only ways is to get primary. Otherwise, I had it pretty secured. But also, Magnus fails a battle shock to deny me hold more, which is upsetting. So I draw secondaries exactly, engage and recover. So I have only enough to get onto 3/4. I'm mostly tabled. I think I have 3 units to get engage and recover. And so I get 3 points. I get exactly as much as I possibly could while being on objectives. And it's an exact tie. And so I laugh with him about it because I'm like, we kind of talked about this. You kind of willed this into existence. And I had considered recycling engage to maybe get something else, but I think that's really risky. There were some secondaries that could have been like if you had like couple of things, like if I had behind enemy lines, or if I drew not secure. I already did behind. There's one I think I was trying to look at, establish locust. I was like, if I do that, I can get 4 points and win. Or if I get cleanse, I can get 5 points and win. But I was like, I don't want to really gamble that. And this was for top cut.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I think we're both
matter.
good. Yeah. Well, it does. It technically, because there's a lot of draws that round. It might have mattered, but I was like, whatever.
Alex was the only tie to get into top cut.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought there was a ton that got into top cut.
I think Ross also got into top cut.
Oh, but, top cut. I'm thinking top 8, not top cut.
Oh yeah. Exactly. So it does matter if I continue. So I end up not wanting to risk it because if I lose, I lose, and that's bottom bracket. So I think it was fine. I think it's a good matchup. I think I just make a big misplay by trying to one-shot the Wraithbrick really early on without investing resources. I think I should have just, if anything, invest everything into the Wraithbrick. But he's a smart enough Necron opponent. He doesn't show everything. He shows with 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, great game.
So you said you lost 5 points, but not by failing Magnus. Why didn't you just auto pass?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that turn. I think it was like turn 4. All I remember is that Magnus really wanted to have full rerolls, and then he failed the battle shock, and that cost me a bunch of primary. I don't remember if that was because I couldn't leaf blower or something, or if he was on a point, and I think he was on a point, and I was trying to hope that it would keep to get cold 2. That wasn't turn 5, because I was like, I need the CP for full reroll, so I'm not going to auto pass, and then he battle shocked, and then I think turn 5, I was like, we're not doing this again. I just auto.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, there you go. There's the old tie, the Alex special.
I know. It's funny. The same thing happened with Mr. Fromme last year at Tacoma. So it's becoming a weird trend. I hope it doesn't happen again. I'd like to win.
Did you guys play at Tacoma the year in ties? What you said, or
we played round 4 of Tacoma last year. He was playing Sisters and I was playing Tsons, and it was an exact tie.
It was a great game too.
Tsons without the magical Doombolt. All right. Let's go. All right, the first of 3 Mr. Jeff games. No Subterranean Assault. All right, I know this list prolifically, playing a Tyranid player and playing in the finals. All right, we're on hit, same thing, getting supplies. All right, we got Death Leaper, Neuro Tyrant with the redeploy, Mr. Swarmlord, Trigon Prime, which just gives him better melee. Doesn't actually really do anything. 20 Gargoyles, a Bioverse squad, the old 6-man Hive Guard squad with the anti-2-up shot cannons, a single Lictor, a single Neurogon squad, 2 Raveners, a Ruptured Tyrannofex, and a big 6-man Zoanthrope squads. All right, Nick, so this is the loss, and so just before you say anything, I think it's because it's probably on hidden supplies. You're a pretty bad primary army versus a very good primary army, and an army that deep strikes 6 inches everywhere. Is that a correct assessment?
No, that is completely the correct assessment, right? This going into this match, this is one of the ones I really wanted to avoid in at least round 4. Mm-hmm. Hitting it, going into the game, I was like, I really, really need to go second if I want this game to function how I'd like it to go, and I did not grab second, right? So immediately, my game plan, I already have it kind of ironed out, is I want to kill as many little scoring units as he can physically give me turn 1. I think I ended up killing the unit of Neurogaunt, the unit of Gargoyles, and I think that was all I ended up nabbing turn 1, which was good. It was good by him, right? He was like he had this point where he was debating. He had this Lictor sitting kind of aggressively, and he had his redeploy, and he was like, and I think he spent almost 5 minutes thinking about it. He's like, I'm gonna put this in reserves, and I was like, not so good, right? So I was able to kill 2 little units early. From this point, he and I kind of know how the game is going to progress. He puts a Norn on his natural, and then he says, "Come interact with me. I'm going to deny your primaries. I have second." What was that?
I just said I forgot to put the Norn on the list. Yeah, he had a Norn emissary.
Yes.
Maybe because I just killed it.
He does have a Norn emissary. He says, "Come swing your dragons at it." Turn 2 happens. He also plays kind of aggressive with a Tranifex on the center. Turn 2. He's making me decide between the Norn or the Tranifex. This is actually would have been a huge blowout if I had done this. But he goes, "Oh, you're gonna go after that Norn, right?" I'm like, "No." So I interact with the Tranifex on the center. I kill that just barely. I think I killed it on the dot wounds. So if I had gone after the Norn, I would have just whiffed with a Dragon Squad, which would have been really bad. Game plan from this point is to just screen as best I can. I think in the game I had identified that I needed to hold every single resource for screening instead of denying him primary. And I think this was correct. But it does kind of solidify that the only win condition is like 2 turns of potato secondaries for him. And the game kind of progresses as expected from that point. We trade units on the center. I hold my natural for a little while. Eventually, he's able to get a deep strike on that and kill off and just kind of clear off that area, which I think is turn 3. Yeah, and he denies my primaries turn 3 and 4 fully. Turn 4, he all-ins my home. I'm able to clear it off, but the point discrepancy is now large enough where that's not a factor. And then turn 5, he secures the lock-in with a nice big hidden supply spike up on primary and some good secondaries. Just kind of like overall analysis of this match. This is, I think, a list design problem from my end. We're seeing a lot of Eldar lists are going to like heavier on garbage, and I think for this matchup to be playable, I think you have to go pretty heavy on garbage. I actually think swooping hawks are really, really important in this matchup, because something that I noticed when playing it was that it's actually really difficult to interact with things like lictors. Spiders don't always get the job done. It's like kind of an inconsistent profile. In fact, on average, they don't get the job done. And really, the only little units that can interact with it are swooping hawks. So that is kind of a list design problem in this one. I think if some Dark Reapers were swooping hawks, that would have gone a long way.
So you said you couldn't interact with both the Norn thing and the Tyron fix, but with 20 Fire Dragons, why was that not a possibility?
It was turn 1. So one of the Dragon Squads was in reserves, and then the other was on the second Serpent on the other side of the board, protecting my natural. And so the only one that was staged to interact with his stuff was the Fuegan boat. I also, just having played into the Norn before, I'm really skeptical of 10 dragons killing the Norn. Because I think on math they don't quite kill the Norn. Especially if it's 2 5-mans. Like I would make the gamble on the 10-man in Fuegan with sustained hits, maybe killing a Norn. But 2 individual 5-mans probably does not do the job.
Did you save Fire Dragons to kill the Zoanthropes? They are monsters.
I did, yes.
Good.
Turn 4 is when he brought them in, and I think I killed the 2 5-mans of dragons. I think killed 3 Zoanthropes.
Yeah, so if I was, obviously he won, but I said if I was a mid player, I probably wouldn't even lead the Zoanthrope. Just so they don't get the monster keyword. I don't know. He won, so it doesn't really matter in the end, but that's just a...
Yeah, I think he forgot. I mentioned it after. I was like... Yes, no, I think he forgot about it.
Yeah, since actually I was infantry monsters double awful versus Eldar. Because you get both Howling Banshees and Fire Dragons. That's cool. Yeah, all right, there goes the first loss of the event for us. Sad, but, got, finals. So, very good player.
Yup.
All right, Mr. Alex versus the first knights of the event. Look at this long list. It's actually longer than most night lists. All right, we're playing Index Knights. They only have, I guess they technically have 2 attachments. We only have 1. They have Noble Knights Lance, which is the best attachment in the game. This shit is OP. Scorcher, Tipping Point. I love some Tipping Point. Then Layoff 6. Layoff 6 sucks. All right, we got Canis, 2 Atroposes, 3 Helverins, 2 Warglaves, and a solo Inquisitor to sit somewhere. All right, it's another incredibly close game by Mr. Alec Pina. I like this blank square by Mr. Steven. Holy crap.
Yeah, so
What the fuck?
well, okay, I think we'll go into it. We'll get into it. This matchup, and basically my perception of knights in general is the more knights they have, the harder it is. Like, even if it's we'll see later in the game, like the more trash you have, the harder it is. Yeah, exactly.
Hands all around.
The more trash they have, the harder it is for me to win.
Yep.
But if you have 6 big dudes, it's really easy. He had a pretty good amount of big dudes, a little bit of little guys. So it's whatever. Little guys are much easier for me to kill. Magnus can kill one in shooting, which is nice. And so I also get to go second. So what happens is he kind of plays this trickle game where turn 1, the Inquisitor goes in the middle and gets area denial. And I think I sent some bow goats, and they just completely whiff and don't kill it or whatever. He sends like a Warglaive on his natural. I leaf blower that. Magnus is obviously in this matchup. You can't run him out; he will just die.
Look at the feeling of
pain.
So
you have to play very, very conservatively with him, which is fine because once he's out of armigers, he has just the Atropos. He did have an Atropos live, and usually what happens in Knights games is that one of them always lives with like 6 or 7 wounds, and you just have to accept that they get another activation. Atropos are good into Magnus and Mutiliths, but they're not great into anything else. His whole army isn't really kitted to kill a bunch of things, just kill a few things really well. And so I think I might have, did I go first on this? I think actually I went first on this. Because he couldn't score anything. Yeah. So he's not willing to send anything to deny my primary. I also throw 10 Zangors, a Shaman, and a Mutilith on the point, and so he just doesn't have enough activations to clear everything. And then I also get to start denying as much primary as possible. I still have a pretty high amount of my army in play by the end of the game, and I think one of the biggest things that happened to Steven was he kind of underestimated Magnus's shooting. So he Mysterious Guardianed one of the Atropos into my home field, and then toe tapped to shoot at Magnus and didn't really do anything. He did pretty good, but Magnus and 6 Bowgoats and the Exalted Sorcerer on disc just one-shotted the full health Atropos. I think that was, I don't even think the Bowgoats did it. I think it was straight up Magnus and that guy, because his whole plan was he was going to deep strike and then burn my home and then win. But Magnus did 20 wounds to the Atropos, and it wasn't even Magnus rolling that hot. He just didn't roll any 4-ups.
Yep.
So I mean that's 40k, and so he at the end of the game, all he had left was 1 Warglaive on his home and 1 Canis on my natural. We had kind of swirled, and so he couldn't score anything. Like, he got to hold 2 and burn the natural, but Display of Might, I had more. Recover assets, he couldn't do it because he only had 2 units left. Extend, he got Overwhelming Force. I think he held on to Display, and I don't know if there's something, I forget. He just kept recycling secondaries because they couldn't be scoreable. I'm not sure if I put that in correctly, but he just couldn't score anything. And so I think I did this theoretically just to make him, he kept drawing to being like, what if, and there's just nothing he could have done because he only 2 models left. And after I scored, I just got off of all the objectives. I was like, whatever, you have OC a million. So he did potentially draw a Roaming Force and cleanse, but with cleanse, you either get 5 points for burning the home field or you get 2 points. So it didn't really matter. But it came down to him having to really brick on secondaries. And thankfully, because his Canis had to burn, he couldn't do anything else. Like, you can't do multiple actions. He could have shot, but it didn't matter. And I honestly, thinking about it now, I don't know if you even get extend if you burn. I don't know the timing of that, but
yeah, I don't know. That's what I was going to ask. I was like, can you cleanse and burn the same objective? 2 different people? I have no clue. I don't know when the burn. That one's hard. I think if
extend and burn.
I think if it's turn 5, you can burn because burn scores at the end of the game and cleanses at the end of your turn. Oh wait, I think you can.
I'm talking about extend.
I think you can because extend scores at the end of your turn and burn is at the end of the game. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, there you go.
and then burn otherwise is at the
Yeah,
end.
it was super close. This is another matchup where I'm like, do I take fixed? I assassinate and bring it down might have been okay here.
Yeah, because Candace's were 6. These are worth 5 or whatever it is, and this guy's worth a couple points too.
Yeah.
I had the same question because I played against 3 big knights once too, and I was like, do you take fixed? I decided yes, and I still maxed out as much as I could.
The problem with fixed with Grand Coven is it's such a fucking CP hungry detachment because you basically want 2 CP and you want to overwatch sometimes too.
So, yeah, that makes sense. My attachment has CP reroll as a strat. So
yeah, you also exactly. Yeah, maybe a grenade if we're feeling ourselves.
We're feeling spicy.
It was very close, and honestly, I was around turn 3 and 4. I was like, I need to really push. And going first is always really scary into Scorched Earth because you're basically down 15 points no matter what.
Dude, that's why you got to play.
It was close enough to get. Yeah,
get that CP.
This is just like. Yeah. Dude, the amount of hours I've spent looking at that detachment, just wondering how it would work. Scorched Earth, just like this is a very easy, simple tip. Yeah. Deny primary, it's super good. Like I know primary denial armies want to deny primary, but even if you're Space Marines, even if you're that, the other, if you deny 1 or 2 turns in a row, they're not going to get that back.
No,
one turn of denying primary, because they can't get 15 another turn. If you deny 1 turn of primary, you undo their burning natural. Mm-hmm. If you undo 2 turns, you undo their that. So if you're going first, this is the mission where you want to just send everything and die on their objectives, as opposed to just playing.
It's very true. That's also why this is like my best mission almost, because 1, it's only a 2 primary mission, so I don't have to worry about holding the middle, whatever my army's terrible primary. And two, I can focus on absolutely molesting their objectives. So this is like, I love playing Scorched Earth with Hammer. I'm like, I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just gonna kill your ass standing on that objective. Well, I have 15 drones on my left side. You're not killing these guys. And 30 pockfuckers.
Yeah. And one of the things I really like about one of the things I really like about my specific list is that it can deny primary with 2 units of Zangors that can reroll advances and double, and then having 6 OC on 3 goats for 50 points just to go say fuck you is really nice.
Very good. All right, you have anything to say, Nick, before we go to your next game?
Oh yeah. No, I was just commenting on agreeing with that. This mission is just really nice for primary denial armies, and it really helps with. I think all 3 of our armies really liked that.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, because neither of us are good at doing primary. We're all pretty good at stopping primary, which is kind of fun.
Yes.
All right, we got another Warhorde Orc list. This is also this is more of a normal list. This is a very normal list, actually. So we're going to go into it. Snickrot, the only lone op, which I don't know if he made him the war boss, but it's not the war boss, the warlord. But it's kind of actually important in this meta because your warlord matters for some stupid reason versus knights. So if you have any amount of lone up, it's very good to be a warlord. That's also one hidden, off tangent, one hidden buff for Vanguard Nids is that's the only attachment for Nids that can get a Lictor as a warlord in Death Leaper. So you can have an actual lone up warlord versus the stupid Imperial Knights. All right, so Snickruts, 2 beast boss, a Death Killer war type with a sweet 4-up Feel No Pain. That's one of my favorite units in the army because he's like 80 points. He moves like 18 inches and charges you. And then he has a 4 Feel No Pain.
It was very cool.
Yeah, and he's got 3 war bosses to hang out with, probably his Breaker Boys and Normal Boys, or the Knobs. Ooh, Knobs. 2 Beast Snagger Boys to hang out with the Beast Boss. The 2 Breaker Boys, which are specifically very good in this army, or this meta, because dumb knights, and they got 3 attacks at 3 damage, anti 4-up, I think. At Strength 7. Strength 7's good because it's also good at killing like normal stuff. Not like Strength 5 Wolf and such. Yeah. 5 Solo 5 Burna and Flash Hits. A Solo Garrote Squad. The 10 Knobs with Power Fists, which is a little off meta, but they're fine. They go up to like Strength 10. Strength 10's okay. 5 Storm Boys, a Tank Buster Squad, but with no leader, which is a little off. And then 4 trucks. All right, this was a pretty seemingly easy win for you. If you want to tell us all about the cool Scorched Earth.
Yeah, so originally I was actually a little bit worried seeing this list, right? Knowing that if my opponent was like knew, like he was on his stuff and he knew what he needed to do. If he did it, got turn 1, called Wa, ran at me, or staged really nicely where I could interact with nothing, and then did that turn 2, it was potentially quite bad. My opponent was a little bit afraid though, and so turn 1 he wasn't able to fully fit everything in staging. So I think I was able to pick off 2 trucks for free on turn 1. Turn 2 he finally makes it to all of his primaries with units that are to all of his points in his natural. it was really just like a very standard game of 40k. He was hiding behind his walls. He would come forward to deny primary and or sit on his primary, and then I would kill his stuff. Unfortunately, I just don't think that that's a functioning plan with orcs at the moment because he just ran out of stuff. It's like not enough units. I think turn 3, I was able to get a decent all-in to kind of close out the game. On that turn, I think I killed all 30 boys, a burning unit, a flash gets unit, a storm boy unit, a tank buster unit, and the death killer wartrike. It's funny. I put the 10 mana dragons. I split fired 5 of them into it, and I did 35 damage or some egregious number like that.
Mean.
And it just died. So I didn't get to see the cool trike. It was fun. He was really happy to talk about the 4-up, and it did seem cool, but it just died, unfortunately. Yeah, this was just a very standard game of 40k overall.
All right, yeah, looks like that. Seems like beat the shit out of him by turn 3, and then that was the game. Yep. All right, this is the last real game before we go into Cool Man Land. All right, we got Alex versus Chris Pena's favorite army, Mr. Demonic Incursion on the cool what the fuck is the 17? All right, Terraform on layout 5. we got Be'lakor. We got an Argath +2 strength and +2 attacks. Very good. It's actually very good, specifically because the sweep becomes strength 10 and the strike becomes strength 18. Both are very important profiles because we're in a T9 meta and a T11 meta. And then a normal Bloodthirster, the normal and the skiff, great unclean one. Mr. Rodigus, the cool guy, who's going to be hanging out with the Death Guard soon. 3 Nurglings, a squad of 10 Plague Bearers, 3 Flamers, 5 Fleshhound, and 2 squads of Chris's favorite models, the Screamers. All right, tell us about this 17 on turn 2, Alex.
Yeah, so this was the winning in for the shadow round, and I was looking at the other undefeateds, and it was just like, there's fucking Death Guard players with triple PBCs. There's Scary is lurking. There's Imperial Knights again. And I'm like, God, please just give me a melee pressure army, please. Wow. And he delivered. He gave me
challenger cards.
Yeah. Okay. So I know this matchup very well because as Steve was saying, my brother plays this list, and demons historically, and I think forever, have never had at least in 10th ed, I've never had a great matchup into demons. So I was feeling pretty good about it. Same with Tsons. The general plan is to kill the trash and then kill the things that aren't trash. I get to go first, obviously, and I just send 10 Zangors to each expansion and the discs in the middle. And this is the one where all 3 are right in the middle.
Oh yeah, and we're playing on the Sui engagement, which is the weird non-award type deployment zone. We can say that.
He had, yeah, exactly. He had deployed pretty conservatively, so I just put all of those. So 10 Zangors in each point and 3 goats on 1 point. I just hit the third from board in turn 1. I'm like, whatever. This also helps me by zoning, so I can not get deep strike turn 1 into a bunch of things. Tsons has enough trash that it's usually fine. And I identify that he's going to score a bunch of points at the end, so I need to get a good lead. And also, more importantly, I'm just trying to trade trash with him because I have slightly more trash. Like, honestly, Mutalisks are vaguely trash in this matchup that require a real unit to kill. And so we do that. I think I also put a Mutalith on, I double move a Mutalith turn 1 onto a point to do it as well. So we do that. We do, that's extend battle lines. We get that cleanse. Yeah. So I had solo shaman on. So by my bottom of turn 1, I had 5 units on objectives. Solo shaman, the 3 things I said to hit the button, and then the Mutalist. So I'm just like, here's my whole army. Do whatever you want. His turn 1, he moves up the Great Unclean one. He moves up, I think, Be'lakor to get a 6-inch charge into the Mutalith. He does some Screamers into one of the Mutaliths and into the Shaman. Cleans off all my trash. But, oh no, he doesn't do that turn 2. He just kind of meanders to his objective and hits the Terraform to undo that one. So that's why I have 17 points, is because I get hold 1, hold 2, hold 3, 3 Terraform because I flip the button again.
And then 2.
And then 2 on that turn.
Yep.
So he plays really, really passively, I think, turn 1. He doesn't really deny anything. I think he charges and kills some stuff. So basically that's how the game ends up. I don't remember the exact turn order of it, But he starts charging a bunch of stuff into trash, and then the 10-man and the Bogoats pick up Be'lakor. I don't kill the Great and Clean One in one whole turn with like both Rubik squads and Magnus. And I guess that's just kind of what it is. He was on a point too. I do kill the Rodigus, which is nice. And then as the game progresses, the 10-man gets whittled down a little bit. He reclaims the middle again with like the Flamers and the Fleshhounds and the 3-man Screamers, just all in the middle. And I'm like basically tabled by the end of it, but I have a couple of sticky objectives, and he can only score so many points. It's the same thing with the challenger cards. I'm just putting the foot to the gas. I'm like, I need to score as much points as possible. That's why I don't think I scored literally anything by the end of the game.
Yeah,
that I had
this early 17 kind of supplemented the game because you did fucking nothing on turn 5. Yeah. So if he stopped you from scoring so much, you definitely probably would have lost, which is kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, that was like, I wanted to just like get him to get Greater Demons on the middle. And so he, at the end of his game, he had like one Bloodthirster and some like Screamers running around. But the real MVP for him was the Plague Bearers, who stickied his natural, teleported to where my natural was, that was empty, stickied there, and then like stickied a third thing. So he was just like getting a million primary. Or I think he said he held 3 and then had 3. But it was close. I honestly thought, I was like, okay, I'm gonna comfortably win this game, and then he starts doing this, and I'm like, oh my god, it's really fucking close. It's like so close.
Yep.
But then he couldn't quite catch up. I was pretty comfortably in control of primary for most of it, so I wasn't terribly worried. But he scored 18? He scored 23 points turn 5.
Yep.
Which made me very scared. But yeah, and honestly, this was part of the day where I was just so tired. This is round 6. Round 6. So it's like, okay, the last game of a super major. I'm just like trying to send it, and I know this is a comfortable matchup, so maybe I play a little bit too aggressively. But going first, I know I had to. And then I think, bouncing off of the Great and Clean One is slightly bad because then he can charge some rubrics, stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm happy with it. We got the dub. Andrew is a very, very cool guy I like playing with. His brother also, I think they're both somewhat local meta people.
Yeah, they are. His brother played, I think Chris played his brother. Maybe, I don't know. He played CSM a lot.
Brother v. brother.
All right. So game.
Oh, yeah. These guys are locals. Those are, they play down at Bird's area a lot.
Yeah, the Reverend
there you
Barracks. Go. Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We got a second Subterranean versus our boy, Mr. Sean. This was a much better list. I mean, not list, a much better game for you, Mr. Nick. But it's a different list.
It was.
Unironically, even though, like I said, I play Nid, so I'm a big Nid prolific player. And then he got second, Jeff got second. I prefer this list. The depends on the meta. Right now, Harspexes aren't amazing for the meta. Because of knights and such, but Harspexes are one of the most cost-efficient units in the army, and they're just very good. They're just not great at being delivered. This attachment mostly fixes that. Mouse Raptors are nice when you can get them into the aura instantly. Hey, I remember I wrote the Norn on this one. But then he's got the hyper-adapted Raveners. I love hyper-adapted Raveners. They are, for the cost, they're very cheap because you take a Ravener squad and you add 40 points to get a character inside of them. So the character is only about 40 points, which means he's one of the cheapest characters in the game. He gives you one of the best abilities, which is once per turn, you get a free heroic or free rapid ingress, and you could duplicate it. So hypothetically, if you have 3 of those, you could do 4 rapid ingresses in one turn. But it also solves the issue of a lot of Subterranean lists is they have 2 Raveners and a Trigon, which doesn't really use attachment ability. He's there to proc it, like get out of the attachment ability, so you don't really get a second tunnel worth of shit. Most Subterranean lists have 2 Raveners, that's it. And obviously, there's not much anti-else in the game except the best anti-else of the edition, which is the PBC. But once you run out of these, you literally functionally don't have attachment anymore, which is really bad. This is very nice because also one upside of this unit is it's a leader ability that doesn't need to lead because its leader ability is this unit gains sus, so it doesn't lose that when it's not leading. So it's a very, very flexible unit. Yeah, we'll just go back because I just wanted to make a little tangent why I like this list a lot, even though he lost. But Sean's a cool guy. So I got a squad of Hyper-Adapt Raveners. Like I said, they're the new ones. A Neurotyrant, which is probably hung out the Zone Thropes. A Trigon Prime.
Yep.
A squad of Gargoyles. Speaking more of this is the Hormagaunts. I really love cheaper shitter units in this detachment. I'm not a fan of Gargoyle. I don't like Gargoyles in general. I'll make a video of that later. But this detachment really loves cheap shitter units like Hormagaunts, Neurogaunts, things that are like 40 to 60 points that can come out of tunnels and go for 6-inch deep strikes, 6-inch deep strike charges. You don't really need to pay the premium of 85 to 90 points for essentially the least durable model in the game of a T3 with a 6-up save. So really, it's nice to let you run the cheap shitter guys. That's also, I like Jeff having the Neurogaunts because they're only 45 points for 11 models. And then a Biovore, the 2
This
Rs.
is definitely the place to play that stuff.
Yeah, this is the one detachment that says you don't really need gargoyles. You can run the cheaper units and be just as good, which I prefer. Biovore, obviously. 2 Haruspecs, like I said, they're really good. They have 1 million attacks. They're really, they're T11, which is very high in 40k. Most things cap at T10. 2 Malceptors, which are very nice because they're also T11, but with a 4 bin will save. The old Norn, the Zoanthropes, and the Raveners. The only thing he is really lacking is the very important shot cannon Boyos, which are pretty important in this meta. All right, so go on to your.
Those seem critically important.
Yeah, your pretty prolific win there, Nick.
Yeah, so this was not. So I know Sean, and I was not gonna let it happen again. So immediately starts good. I get second turn. This is overall a lot of better of a matchup for me just because it's so much hull spam too. So all of my stuff is very, very efficient here, right? Obviously, I'm running 20 dragons. Turn 1, he pushes up with the Norn, which I think is a huge mistake, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. He pushes up with the Norn. He pushes some stuff onto his natural. And then, so the Fuegan unit gets an activation into the Norn, right? Within 12. I pop sustain hits. Fuegan, of course, sustains because he always sustains with his flip. He fails both his saves, and he takes 21 damage from just Fuegan this time.
Yep.
So then, obviously, the other 10 dragons were able to do the 4 or 3 required damage after Feel No Pain. So the Norn is just immediately deleted for free. Turn 1, I also am able to get another 5-man dragons into a Maleceptor, which I think I bring to 2 or 3 health. And then some Warp Spiders kill. I think I killed 9 Hormagaunts, 10 Hormagaunts, and yeah, I think that's my turn 1, which obviously I'm very, very happy with that. Turn 2, he realizes, I probably should not have been so aggressive with the Norn and some of those other things. So he tries to come out and do a little bit of a counterpunch. It doesn't go incredibly. I think he's able to get to some garbage unit and kill 2 units of Warp Spiders and the Corsair unit because the Corsairs had to come forward to do some screening. I kill all the things that come in trade. And then really there is a single point where he's able to come back into the game. So turn 3, I'm out of resources, and he's able to get a rapid ingress and set up a 7-inch charge into the Serpent. There's not really any situation where he double activates, but he can definitely tag the dragons, and it's not amazing, but it's his only condition for potentially winning the game. But he has no CP, and he fails the 7-inch charge, and the game kind of ends on the spot there. That's turn 3. I clean up the rest of what he has, and the game is pretty much over right there. He gets a couple points turn 4 with just a Biovore and some other some nonsense that's still running around. I think he kills something. And yeah, turn 5, he's pretty much tabled at that point and has nothing left. So just a clean game, right? Definitely the layout was very impactful here too. Not very many staging locations on layout 5.
No.
It was open enough where things were just in the open getting shot by dragons.
Yep, that's the old Dawn of War. Very fun, very awesome. We all love Dawn of War here. All right, sweet. Game 6. All right, we're going to go to the Shadow Round now. Only me and Alex played that. Sadly, Nick lost earlier. So now we're going to go to the Shadow Round. All right, speaking of the Shadow Round, this was interesting. They took us to a private venue on the other side of the hotel. They had it somewhat food catered. They had some wings, some other food, some little pizza and stuff. Not like pizza, like fancier pizza.
Yeah, it was a very good to have because I was exhausted.
Yeah,
we still had to wait an hour and a half after our round.
Yeah, we didn't. I finished early. Someone did not finish till later and made me wait. They had some nice Dr. Peppies for me, so I survived. All right, Alex is gonna play Jeff, the second Jeff game of the event, soon to be the third one in the finals. All right,
so I didn't realize that we had all played Jeff. That's cool.
We did.
And the points, the long and short of the points is that it's either the points don't really show up on BCP, so it's just whoever wins and who loses. I know Jeff was on Art of War. He might have said something slightly different with the points, and that's completely fine. He won. That's the long and short of it. It was so good. It was so refreshing to just have me, Steve, and 6 people all being like, hey man, we did it. We're doing good. Air conditioned room, carpeted floors, no time limit, food. Yeah, it was very nice. I think part of what was the reason I lost is that I started playing really sloppy because I was kind of disarmed. I was like, this is great. I'm having a good time. I really enjoyed my game with Jeff. Jeff is, I'd say, West Coast, so not local, but I've seen him. He won a tournament I went to a couple months ago, so I know he was a real deal. Obviously, he got second place. He made it to the finals. He is a great player. And he's also like, at this caliber, you're not going to find anyone who's going to be like, gotcha you, or, you know, kind of like, everyone is really friendly and everyone wants everyone to play.
Yeah.
Right. So, and this was maybe not the time to learn how Subterranean NIDS worked. Because I had never played it before. And so he was like, do you know what this does? And I was like, not at all. And I knew vaguely how it worked, and it was still a very close game. I think the big macro error I did is that he shoved his he aggressively. Well, I really aggressively deployed one of my Mutaliths. He goes first. He just aces the Mutalith in one shot with the Tyrannifex, which I think is like, okay, he has to roll really high on damage.
Tyrannifex can't even kill him with Fitting Blackcaller.
Yeah, exactly. Like he hits twice, but wounds twice, and I fail both saves, and I fail like all my Feel No Pains. And he dies exactly. And I was like, I was hoping that maybe he would pull the Tyrannifex out so I could like trade and then have guys shooting back, but I didn't expect to lose him entirely. Maybe that's greedy of me. I also full send onto his natural expansion. I don't put enough stuff on my natural. So like he puts a Lictor there. One of the best things the Shaman did this whole tournament was like move up to the Lictor and then Doombolt it and get a max Doombolt and just one shot it. I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, so the primary is very bad for me. It was fine actually. Like it's because it's purge, so it's like just kill trash. So neither of us are showing a bunch of stuff. I accidentally turn 3. I accidentally moved something to Overwatch. He overwatches it with his funny Hive Guard unit, and he gets kill more off of it, which is obviously big enough. I think that was another big blunder. And I also don't get display of might. Or I do get display of might because of it. I don't get something else. I don't remember, but it was very big primary swing. And I think that was another big thing. Other than that, it was a pretty good scrap. I do send the whole army into the Norn and leave it at like 1. His go turn was pretty good, but my clapback was very good. But like I still scored a million points. Was it 26 points going at the end? So it was very hard. I mean, I kind of was burnt out, and I was playing against a really technical army. I think maybe if we re-rack on a new day, it might have been closer. But round 7, and this was my first shadow round ever, so we got these cool shadow round coins, which I have. They're very cool.
Shadow round on it.
And so I'm proud of myself making it this close into the guy who got second place. I think if I re-rack knowing how the detachment works now, then it's a little bit better. And that just goes to show, like, if you want to be a top level player, then as soon as the detachment comes out, you got to get games into it, especially if it's a strong one that people are.
Yeah, that's actually
Jeff was a great opponent.
Let's continue, Alex.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff, cool guy. Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of what Subterranean Assault is. It's very similar to old Ynnari, where it's like it's an information based attachment, where it's gonna really beat anyone who doesn't know exactly how the rules work, just on the face value of it's kind of just the gotcha attachment, just how the rules work. That's how old Ynnari worked too. But that's where most its strengths come into play. The second you actually know how all the interactions work, it loses a lot of its power, and it essentially comes down to just the attachment ability. That's also why I have PBCs, which are obviously very good into NIDS in general, but that's why I won in the finals, because I play NIDS and I played a bunch of Subterranean. So there wasn't like any like goofy interactions you could use against me that I didn't fully understand. It's definitely just you need to know what's going on type of rule set. But yeah, like same thing with Shadow Round. I had something funny in the like turn 3 or 4. I was playing the Chaos Knights to Alex, but we playing next round or the round after that, I can't remember. Where like I had mostly won by that time, but with this purge and he has one model left alive, and we were counting at the points, and he's like, "You got to kill my big knight or you lose." I was like, "What the hell?" So I had to kill that big boy with 3 PBCs, but I succeeded at least. Because that's why you don't hand wave rounds, people, even if it's 1 a.m. You get to pay attention. All right. Game 8. Alex again, because Nick didn't play the shadow round. All right, we got Mr. Reaper's Wager, freaking Scary himself. Look how small my freaking look at these letters. Look how tiny they are.
I know.
Too many random
some guy,
uses.
I don't know. Some guy from Canada. He's cool.
All right, so
so I got.
He's playing Reaper's
talk about
Wager.
having not played a detachment before. Yeah, it's like okay. I don't think I've played Drukhari in a tournament in all of 10th edition. I go to a fair amount of tournaments.
Yeah, this
so like
not great.
We're all bottom 4 of us are playing next to each other, and we're all patting ourselves on the back, being like, "It's okay, we'll get the next one."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was really excited to get to play Scary. Obviously, he has a very great player, Team Canada. He knows exactly how to play the matchup. Again, I'm just like, I don't even know. I know you're fast. I know you'll jam me. So I put up some Zangors early to try and screen. But like, Beast packs are so fast. He gets the first turn, and he just like those 2 Beast packs right in my DZ. Also, the thing about Drukhari is that like killing Space Marines is pretty easy for Drukhari. They have a lot of pretty good damage, and also he has so many lances that if I put a Mulith in the middle, he can kill it free with a lot of like the Fire and Fade units that have the lances, the full rerolls, the Ravager fighting. Especially with layout too, he can get a lot of really good long angles, and that's kind of what happens. Is that he can protect his natural really well, while I really can't because there's a lot of really easy ways for him to do Venom shenanigans, for him to just like throw things that get back up. Like Urian like went into the middle, died, got back up, and then just started harassing me everywhere else. And I was like, okay, because the 4 Feel No Pain is pretty good. I think it was a 4 Feel No Pain, yeah. He was flawless maneuvering with the Venoms, knowing exactly what happened. And it comes down to him just having a lot more resources than me, and him having damage profiles that really lined up well into my specific list, where he had a bunch of bolt guns for my Zangors, a bunch of Dark Lances for my Mutiliths, and so his damage profiles were really efficient there. I mean, I was getting just absolutely snowballed by the time I would dig something out. He had like rapid at 10 Helions, and then just like so much pressure. It's so much pressure, and on taking hold, he just kind of snowballed the secondaries. And yeah, I was basically tabled by the end of the game, but I tried to keep it as close as possible. But no, having 0 primary and him having basically max primary just unchecked, it was a pretty bad thrashing, and I think this might be the worst. I only lost twice besides Jeff, and this was a pretty bad one. Yeah. So kudos to Scary. I mean, the guy knew what was up, and I definitely did not.
Yeah, Scary did the same thing I did last year when I played Vanguard Nids of going undefeated. Obviously losing Shadow Round, but doesn't actually count, of going undefeated. So me and him were the only actual 8-0s at the event, and then last year, me and some other person were the only 8-0s at that event. So it's a pretty cool thing to have. So his list is, Drukhari is very uncommon, fairly normal, except for one specific thing, which are these Helions. These are relatively new. Tell me about these Helions, Alex, because they are not common, to say the least.
I think they're 2 wounds apiece too.
Yeah, they're like a biker with like a pseudo power sword thing.
Yeah, he basically rapided them just like as like wave 3, right? Mm-hmm. Wave 1 was the Beastmasters. Wave 2 was like 2 Venoms with guys inside that were pretty good at combat. And then as I was like fighting on my home deployment zone, he was like, also these 10 Helions are here, and you can shoot at them if you want. I don't care because you have shit right in front of you. And I was like, yes, sir, absolutely. And I couldn't. I mean, I tried to kill some of them, but I mean, like, I think I killed maybe a third of the stuff here because, like, I had to interact with the stuff he put right in front of me, and all the stuff that was on his side of the DZ was just mowing down things while I was doing it. I don't know if it's a great matchup or not. It certainly didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. But I maybe would want to play it again to see. Also, going first was very, very good for him because then he could jail me. I think maybe if I go first and I buy a little bit more board control, then I can stage and actually use my rubrics in the midfield as opposed to taking Z. But yeah, it was he played it perfectly, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so you're saying it's a good or bad matchup, you don't know. Yeah, I would like to play against this because he played one of our friends, Tim, and absolutely dumpster him. I think Tim scored 30 points or something, and Tim's playing a very similar.
Shout out to Tim Grant.
sorry, Tim, but it's just interesting because Tim played a very similar list to mine, not the exact same. He didn't have 3 Death Shroud like a silly man. So I would definitely like to play against this because to me this looks incredibly like on the face value easy, not like calling Scary bad or anything. It's like list design.
Yeah.
1-to-1 list. But you know, he dumpstered a list that's very similar to mine, so it's very interesting. And also one other thing,
you have to be brawling on the middle. I think that's the critical aspect of this. Is if you're brawling in your DZ, then it's a clapping. If you're brawling in the middle, it's probably okay.
Yeah, probably not the best. And the Ravager is also a new tech, which is good because when it has permanently reroll once to hit, it's not like it before. It's just like an inefficient 3 Dark Lands tank that misses. But now it has full. You know, everything in army has reroll once to hit permanently now for all intents and purposes. So that makes it a lot better, which is a cool little thing to see now. All right, back to Nick's game, technically 7, but I didn't want to change the title. Game 8 versus Berserker Warband. This is a very similar list that me and you were playing for a while. He's got a Demon Prince on foot to Karn, Mr. Master Execution with the +1 damage, and I think Strength Relic. 20 Berserkers and Rhinoceroses, 2 squads of Spawn, not 3. Oh, man. 2 Forge Fiends, 3 Chad melee hell brutes. 1 has double fist for some reason. 1 Jackal squad and a single Mauler Fiend with the Melta guns. This was not like a stomp, but you won decently. So holy shit, you got fucking maybe because you got 3 goddamn challenger cards. All right, this game.
love me some challenger cards, baby. We'll talk about that too.
All right, so what's up?
So this was very standard 40k to start with, right? It was him denying my primary and me not denying his primary, but it being okay because challenger cards exist.
Yes.
Immediately this game starts, I know I probably want second, having seen this matchup before, right? Second is really, really nice. Something me and you have experienced, Steve, is really a win condition for World Eaters in this game is Chaos Spawn, like getting to things that they shouldn't get to turn 1.
Yes.
And I stopped that from happening. So then that was fine, right? It was pretty, I don't want to say handedly in the bag, but it was pretty clear how the game was going to go up until turn 4. And I'll actually do a call out to my opponent. My opponent was very, very good. Taylor was a very good opponent, right? There was a place where he could have won the game. I had accidentally placed a unit. I had placed Lycus, a unit of Warp Spiders, and then like another garbage unit and a Dark Reaper unit, all within pile console distance of each other. And he had a 7-inch charge with no CP reroll, and he failed it.
Ooh.
And if he would have made that, it very easily could have swung the game in a direction if he had killed Lycus, which is,
that would have been really bad.
To be fair, kind of unlikely, but possible, right? Other than that, it was pretty traditional, clean 40k, right? He'd trade a Berserker unit on my natural to deny points. I'd kill the unit, and we played that game for 3 turns, right? 4 turns. Just pretty standard 40k on this one.
All right, cool. Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty normal list. He's running the Chad 3 Hell Roots that some people on the internet think are bad because they're losers. Unit's Chad and awesome and based.
It is.
Right.
I think
it's my favorite. Love this guy. He's so fast.
It's cool.
He's people in the face, except when he's -1 against Death Guard, and he's really sad. But that's fine. All right. Next game, game 9 versus Inferno Last CK. This is the same player that me and Alex that I played in the Shadow round that I barely won. And that he won best overall. I don't know if that's what you're thinking earlier, Alex, but he won best overall because his models were painted very well. He's a very awesome player. He's a very fun dude. He had a great game, and his list is very sweet.
I think this was one of his first tournaments.
Makes sense. His list is really weird. I would believe that.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, dude. Just congrats to Chris. He's friends with several people that we know, kind of north of the Seattle people. And it's always so cool to play a guy. My brain was absolutely fried for this one. I was just like begging to die. It was a very close game. And this is more of a tangent. Going back to the Tsons versus Knight matchups, we will see that this guy has so much trash. So much trash. And it's good. It's so good. And he was running the despoiler like before anyone was talking about it.
Really was.
Where it's like
it wasn't really double despoiler wasn't really popular until, like you said, WC list came out. And Infernal definitely was not popular. People were still trying to run the other attachment that's terrible. What the hell is that attachment called? Lord's Dread. Yeah, instead of this one that has rules like +3 movement and recover and sustained.
I've been screaming. I was screaming about it. I was like, guys, this list is very good. I think it's better than anything else.
No, it's great. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, Alex, but I had to play him. This was, I would say, the hardest, besides for the the guard game I played round 3, which was mostly like a terrain versus primary type thing. Like on any mission, this was the hardest list I played. Because this is also maybe a specific Death Guard thing, is a War Dog is not that much harder to kill than an actual Big Knight. It's not 2 times easier to kill. So having 8 of these guys and then 2 actual good models, because I'll be honest, this is the only good data sheet for Chaos Knights. This is a spoiler. Like an Abominant is technically good because it doesn't cost anything, but its rules aren't anything. This model is like egregiously ridiculous. So when you
especially with sus,
especially with sus, ignore cover, essentially shoot through walls because knights cheat. And then plus 3 movement if you need it.
Too.
Yeah, layout to God. And then so when you have 8 assholes in front of you that are OC6, they don't do as much damage as they used to, but they do damage. It's like written on their models. And then having a bunch of dumb Nurgle things, it's like incredibly hard to get through. Because I could not kill despoilers until turn 4. I killed 1 despoiler, and on turn 5, I finally killed the last one, and I had to kill it to kill the game. But normal, any other knights or Imperial Knights, that's also the biggest downside with Chaos Knights is their models are fucking easy to kill, unlike Imperial Knights. Versus this list, you physically can't kill them unless you're playing like, I don't know, Hammerhead list, which isn't real. So like as Alex saw, this is really good. This list is amazing.
Yeah, and layout 2 has a pocket where you can just put a fucking carnivore or whatever, like right next to the expansion, and I can't really do anything about it.
It's gonna run 17
he also had a spoiler
inches.
that just like that could see exactly. So if I put like a shaman on that little square, he would send the carnivore out and kill it. And then if I didn't, then if I put like a Mulos on the point, he would just shoot it. Ironically, I think I should have been more aggressive with Magnus. I think the only things that really kill Magnus are maybe a carnivore getting in and doing too much, but even then they get on 3s now, so it's not crazy. The Melta also could, but I think part of it was I went first, so I was like, I was really actually trying to be aggressive, but the Nurglings and the Beast of Nurgle were just MVPs in that matchup, where like I basically have to spend a real resource to kill these Beasts of Nurgle. And then if I do that, I am trading like 200 points of rubrics for a War Dog. And also on layout 2, a despoiler can move 13 inches and touch any terrain piece into C. So I had to play most of the game in my D on something. And so I was like, please God, just give me 1 loan up, which I had, and I used. This was the one game I used the sorcerer attached to it to get some amount of primary.
Loan up.
But so it's good to have it. But so it was pretty close, 80 to 87. I killed most of his stuff. 1 despoiler lived for like 2 more turns than I wanted it to. Just because Magnus started bracketing, started running out of CP to give him reroll, stuff like that. He also when you have more units, you get to play the game, so you almost max secondaries. Like that's a big thing about
That's
Knights.
The same thing
sometimes
happened in our game too. It does not want for secondaries.
I think if I go second, then maybe the score flips. But because we're playing pretty KG 40K. There's no way not to because you're playing layout 2. Congrats to Chris. He is just a great list. I still think it's maybe one of the best CK lists.
No, that's definitely. I played triple Lancer on round 6, which was annoying but not hard to kill with. The generic triple Atropos with Canis looks round 7, and then I played this round Shadow round, and this was by far the hardest Knight list, and it wasn't even close. And it's also Chaos Knights, which are just worse than Imperial Knights. It's definitely more showing the strength of his designed list, which I was very impressed about. And also one thing we didn't talk about is Stalkers can move 21 inches turn 1 with 15 plus. Yeah, they can move 21 inches. So if you're unprepared for that, you can just get molested by a Stalker in turn 1 if you're playing like a vehicle-based army with low screening. That's why I had. And
Carnivores move what? They move 15?
They move 14 baseline, so they move 17 and charge your ass.
And then
their melee
reroll.
Yes, they reroll baseline, so their melee is still very good because they hit on 3s with sus, which is in almost every instance the same as hitting on 2s. So they're not even worse. So they're good at killing you, and they have dumb havoc launchers. So you figure out.
If you owned Chaos Knights before, you just get 2 despoilers, and then you're good.
Yeah, pretty much. You just go steal your friend's Imperial Knights and shove them in your corner. They also have a missile, as people don't really see. They have a little missile that's very annoying. Like here you go. Here's a freaking multiple shot pseudo last cannon. Boom. Yeah, the attachability, we were kind of hinting to it. It's you take a leadership test. It's kind of like if anyone played 9th edition Vetrix, but actually has real rules. So you either take a leadership test and then you save a little token for the rest of the battle round, and it gives you either sus or lethal. +3 movement or a 5-up invul save, essentially for combat, and then a 6-up funeral pain. I don't know if that works only for some mortals, but one of those. That's the least useful one, but definitely +3 movement and either sus or lethal. The sus or lethal when you're shooting 36, strength 6, AP2, you can recover 2 damage bolters at people is very mean, to say the least. I guess we're on the worst downside of a spoiler because, math of sus is if you essentially become BS2. So you have 36 BS2 shots to go pew, pew, pew. Very rude. Yeah, this was a close game, and he was a great listener, a great player. The last game. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Lords of Dread, as we see by the points disparity, someone picked fixed.
My boy Glenn.
sorry to shit on Lords of Dread, Glenn.
I want to say something really quickly. As I was playing my intense round, maybe after deployment, Glenn comes up to me and is like, brother. So yeah, that'll say. I'll let you.
Oh, this is the Glenn that was hanging out with us all weekend, right?
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
All right. So he's got
Olympia local.
He's got an Atropos, a Lancer with Blessing Dark Master. I can tell you, I have no clue what the hell that shit does. What does Blessing Dark Master do, Nick?
Like, don't remember. I killed it too fast.
Stealth or something? I don't know. It used to be no rerolls last edition. That shit was hype. You got a Blade Celerity, which knows advanced charges.
Oh, I know what it is. I think it's the 12-inch no
deep strike? Maybe. I'm going to check.
He was playing that before, but I don't know if it's the same one.
But he's got the Assault Rampager, so he's got the Assaulting Stubber and then the Fight First. Probably the more important one. And then he's got the Chad Castellano for the Tyrant with the Deep Strike. So he's got the Volcano Lance and the Plasma Decimator. A single Beast Nurgle, a single Plague Bearers. I'll have to say, this is not any shit talk to Glenn. This seems like it makes absolutely no sense because the only good rule in this detachment is your 5 OC sticky objective.
Yeah.
So why would you want Plague Bearers to get a worse sticky? That also costs for a lot of points. I don't know.
This is dark imagination.
This isn't.
Okay. Blessing of the Dark Master means you can blanket damage. You can set a damage to 0.
What's the other part of it? They all have 2 rules.
The Bearer Stealth, and then that.
That's really good. I don't know if you really want that on a Lancer, but it seems really good on a Tyrant, for instance. Tyrant with Deep Strike is kind of cute because he has the Infiltrator ability, which is like, if this model had guns that weren't terrible, this thing would be good because that ability is very good, especially in this meta where like a Knight without an Invul save in melee gets one shot by 3 Death Shroud Terminators, and a Knight Tyrant cannot. Its guns are really bad because unlike the Imperial Knight ones, he got the nerfed guns. The Imperial Knight ones, they didn't change their guns. They're still better, and no one still takes those. But yeah, so
that's still one-shotting fucking Primarchs.
Yeah, this guy's like, I'm fucking hitting on 3s with a blast gun. You're like, oh god, I'm in melee now. This sucks. And the Chad Rodriguez, who's very good in this attachment. So I guess I don't know. I was like, you need infiltrate. Wait, he probably had Nurglings. I forgot to write down. So I'm like, you can't have
he had a unit of Nurglings.
I forgot to write down. So I was like, what the hell? All right, there goes. Like, it's a pretty normal Lords of Dread list, and Lords of Dread versus Eldar, not good. If you want to tell us about your awesome Assassinate, Bring It Down game. I want to start
with how excited I was to get Knights. I ran 20 Dragons in preparation for playing Knights multiple times, and I was so sad because I thought I was going to play Knights 0 times over the event. Round 8, my favorite. I didn't even ask him what his enhancements were. I didn't ask him about the army. I was like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
I don't care.
Right? The only thing I asked about is, tell me about those Knight Tyrant guns, right? And he read them to me, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be a good one.
It's bad.
So his deployment, I think, is really important. He deploys an Atropos in that, that layout 2 staging position you can deploy in where you can get to your opponent's natural. He deploys a Lancer there, right? Or no, it was the Atropos. He deploys a Atropos there, and then he deploys everything else rather defensively. So turn 1, seeing this, I know about these very scary guns, and I go, what if I just pop -1 to hit and you just miss all your shots, right? So this is my game plan, right? I've just decided. I'm going to ignore the Tyrant and let it shoot at the Serpent. And so turn 1, I Star Engines, and I zoom up to the little L. I hop all 10 Dragons out onto the Atropos. I pop sustain hits. I do like 45 damage to it. It's very dead. They hop back in. It's amazing, right? Glenn, seeing the severity of the situation, goes, oh, I understand now. Okay. And so he teleports his Knight Tyrant with the Volcano Lance into like the corner of his L so he can see me on his side of the map. And he just like whiffs and does 0 damage to the Serpent. And he goes, oh, that's bad.
Yeah, -1 to wound versus a guy that hits on 3s is not great.
Yeah, no, not amazing. The other thing he had done is he had brought the Lancer forward to trade with some like scoring nonsense on the center, right? So turn 2, I zoom the Serpent up. I kill the Lancer with just the 10 Dragons, right? and then I hop back in my boat, and then he shoots me again with the Volcano Lance of Plasma and does not kill the Serpent for a second activation. And I go, okay, the game is over. And then I zoom up, split fire, kill 2 knights, and the game's over, right?
Yeah, that's like kind of his list, is he has technically 2 shooting knights, so you kill the Atropos in turn 1. So the second the Atropos dies, he can't kill the fire dragons because he just has 2 melee guys, so they can melee and kill a Wave Serpent, but then the fire dragons are like, what's up? We're inside this, we don't care.
It leads to the win condition is literally, can you use your tape measure and pre-measure the Lancer to make sure that it can't get in combat with the dragons after they die to the Night Tyrant, which I planned around them dying, right? Obviously, it didn't, which was amazing. But that was pretty much, it felt like what the game was pre-measure the Lancer and just make sure there's no melee connecting with dragons if the boat gets popped.
Yep.
And it really was that simple, right? Things just kind of died.
I'm going to say it, boys. This data sheet is terrible. The Night Lancer?
The Night
Lancer? Yeah, both of them. They're both awful because they doesn't have a gun. That's really bad.
So I feel like you could argue
in
for
one
Imperial,
melee weapon.
it's like
I think
you're strapping the same version Chaos has, but then they also get reroll a hit and a wound roll, a 6-up Feel No Pain, a good set of strats, like the best fight on death in the game, right? So like I feel like in Imperial you could make the argument for definitely for an Atropos, right? But like or a Lancer.
The Night Lancer has an ability.
Chaos Knights, definitely not.
Like the Imperial Knight Lancer doesn't have a second ability for all intents and purposes, which kind of is downside. This one at least gives you assault to your boyos, but it's just bad because it doesn't have a gun. This at least is slightly better because it has 2 melee weapons. The issue with the Night Lancer is it has 10 melee attacks, so like it might, I like to say charge with 10 poxwalkers, and usually it won't kill them, which is really bad for them. But stuff like that. At least this guy, like a Night Rampager, will kill 10 poxwalkers because he's got like 18 other melee attacks he can choose to use. Yeah, this day sheet's really bad. Sorry, guys. I hate to break it to you. Don't run it. It needs a gun.
It's very expensive.
It is also very expensive. It's in a Nightland, anything above 320 points is expensive. But yeah, that's it, boys. We had a 7-1, and then Alex went 6-5-1, 5-2-1. But top 8th place. Very great. Very good game. And then we had me, who's the cool one. Yeah, so
it was a good time. I'm happy. Tacoma continues to be a very big GW event. It's like a 20-minute drive from my house.
So. The biggest one, not even close.
It is sick.
More than double the size of the Canadian event this year, and like almost double the size of the Texas event. It had like 200-something people. So on the other topic, I know Nick is substantially changing his list. What do you have any adjustments to your list, Alex? Anything you want to change besides add 9 more bogots?
Yeah, let me just run 22. I'm actually really happy with the list. I think if anything, I would try and fit a 3rd unit of Zangors just to have something back.
3 Zangors instead of more bows, which are 20 points less.
Yeah. I mean, they could be bows.
Or Chad Spear goes.
That might be like a 3rd bow unit. I think I could cut the 2nd Mutalith. That could be like, I like my list, but if I had to change it, I would maybe cut the 2nd Mutalith. That would get me 80. That would give me 2 6-mans. Interesting.
Whoa.
So, I think maybe I would add 1. I think that would be the change. Cut the 2nd Mutalith, add 6 more Bogoats, add 10 more Zangors, and then we're just playing kind of the same game. But right now, I really like where it is. I'm playing so much 40k that it's nice to be past the what does every data sheet do, how do they work together, and just be in a very intuitive way. And that's kind of how it's been going. And it's been very successful for me. I've been doing pretty well.
What about you, Nikki?
Yeah, so my list is changing pretty substantially. You'll notice that there was a lot of preparation for Knights, right? Obviously, we run 20 Fire Dragons. That means we're preparing for Knights. And when I finally did get into the Knight matchup, I mean, first we'll clarify his list was not incredibly optimal, right? They're definitely like more shooting Knights makes it harder. But 20 Dragons was just like way too many Dragons. In the game with Glenn, 5 Dragons was holding my DZ. They had no need to be out and about, right? Just the flagon unit was deleting whatever it wanted. If I wanted to make sure the other Fire Dragon unit would stand there and also fire and fade, and that was like, it was plenty, right? It was ginormous overkill. So I'm dropping that unit, probably a 2nd Serpent, just because layout 2 is kind of weird for double Serpent. And then me and Steve have talked about this a lot. Solitaire. I really have been enjoying Solitaires.
You're gonna Solitaire? Or is it?
I am, yes. It solves some
Look
of
at
the issues I have with certain layouts. I
Solitaire.
know solitaires are so good. No, it's an amazing unit. It's one of the only lone ops that Eldar has access to, and what I like is it runs like kind of
Yep.
double duty.
hmm
Originally, the problem with running a lone op for it being a lone op is like, what if you don't need a lone op, right? Some matchups it's useless.
Yeah.
But the solitaire secondary serves as a fight first dude with 9 or 11 attacks of 622 precision, and also just moving like 26 inches if it wants to, right? Like randomly solves some pretty difficult matchups, like Necrons. Wraith Necrons is normally awful for elves. Well, what if you just have a solitaire that runs forward and precisions out of Technomancer?
hmm
Oh, it's amazing, right?
It's also very good against knights, because knights is one of the only armies in 10th edition, actually, period, that can be fully tape measured for its shooting phase, because it's like 4
Yes.
models that all move the same out and all have the same shooting profile. That's also why, Alex doesn't want to change it, and I'm not gonna tell him to. But like you can add more exalted sorcerers with bows for specifically that rule, because they can shoot and be unshot back, which is very interesting. Versus specifically knights, because they cannot do anything about it. They're tape measured.
Yeah, if you use a tape measure, there's nothing they can do.
That's why this is like the first time. Like lone ops have always been like kind of overhyped this edition. People think it's the best thing since sliced bread. They're fine. This is specifically I would say like the first time of this edition where it's like you can have a good lone op. You should probably take it because of knights specifically. That's why I brought up the Vanguard Knights thing of being able to take a Lictor lone op is very, very awesome because of knights.
From a team's perspective in GW too, it just feels like kind of critical because obviously armies are being taken right now because of their ability to attack knights. And the question arises, what happens when you're on layout 2 when there is not a single hidden natural, right? How do we solve this problem? The answer is a lone op unit, right? It has to be. Or a unit so durable it can survive 3 despoilers in shooting and Chaos Knights, or like 3 Atroposes in Canis. Like, what are those units, right?
Yeah, my game into the Ben's triple Atropos was essentially the worst possible thing I can imagine. It was take and hold, so a great primary mission versus a great primary army on table 2, and search and destroy. So the closest possible deployment zone. I'm like, holy shit, how do I deal with it? And then on turn 2, an Atropos died to 3 blow drone. No, 2 Mephitics and a blow drone. I was like, oh, this is really bad. But for him.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens
when
it happens to a vehicle versus vehicle army. Sometimes someone rolls bad saves, and that's really bad. So I'm glad that happened for me, at least. I feel bad for him.
Yes, yeah, and it's if you have enough anti-tank, right, that can just be a solution to that problem. Like you expose to shoot me, and then I just kill your army. Like that is a totally valid solution. But it can help to have, like, I know with Death Guard, you really just don't have access to lone op other than the 80 billion point prince that like is
like it's not even
your army.
Yeah, like not even a lone up at that point. When you're paying 225 points for, is that really lone up? Not really. Especially
is that really what you want?
Especially if one that at minimum requires a 60 point tax to stand next to them, and hopefully they don't die. Yeah, Death Guard doesn't have any.
Like 290. Yeah.
Death Guard's just chilling. We're just rolling with our little boys standing on objectives, hoping we don't get shot. That's fine. Death Guard's fine. Yeah. All right, Alex, you have anything else to say before I close this up?
Nope. I'm happy with where Tsons is. I hope they don't get nerfed too hard. If they do, I will go back to probably Sisters. But I love Tsons. I'm a Tsons tourist, and they're very fun right now.
Speaking of Sisters,
in a good way.
All right, new video, boys. Me and Alex are gonna make a 30s from list video. It's gonna be great. All right, so speaking of actual videos that are coming out soon, until I force Alex to make that video next week, is I have a game actually. I'm recording voiceover for right now. I played versus my friend. He's playing Space Marines. I recorded a game, and we're gonna do voiceover for it. It's gonna be kind of like how to play Mortarian's Hammer versus a generic army. Spoiler, I won the game, so it'll be very good information for people. And it's on a table that I'm unfavored for, because it was table 7 or something. I fucking hate that table for Death Guard. And then I'm going to have another GT retrospective where I went undefeated. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this very long video. We had a lot of great information from my 2 boys over here. And yeah, that's it. This is Deploying the Line, and thanks for watching, everyone.